Hey, what's up guys? Sawyer here from TechieGrad. So for the past week, I've been using the Motorola Moto G5s Plus, which is a $230 budget phone, and I can easily say that this is the best budget phone that I've used all year. It's got great battery life, a pretty decent camera, and an overall good design. Let's take a look. Starting off with the design of this phone, it looks pretty similar to the Moto G5 Plus. The main differences that you'll see is that for one thing, the Moto G5 Plus had a 5.2-inch display, and this phone has a 5.5-inch display. The back is all metal, and I'll say that the phone feels a bit more solid than previous Motorola phones that I've used, which is surprising because it's also cheaper. The back of this phone is curved, which does help a bit with holding it. When comparing the design of the G5s Plus to the Moto Z2 Play, the fronts of the phones look virtually identical, but as you can see, the backs look quite different. The Z2 Play is quite a bit thinner than the G5s Plus, but the G5s Plus has better battery life, which we'll talk about later. It's also important to keep in mind that the Moto Z2 Play is about $100 more expensive than the G5s Plus, but you are losing Moto Mods compatibility with the G5s Plus, but I know not everyone wants Moto Mods compatibility, so it's good to know you don't have to pay for it if you don't want it. Moving on to the display of the G5s Plus, like I said, it's 5.5 inches and is a 1080p LCD panel. I've recently realized that I'm a bit of a stickler for AMOLED displays. When using this phone, I could definitely tell that the colors didn't look as saturated as they would on something like the Z2 Play or Z2 Force, both of which have AMOLED panels. Obviously, you can't expect an AMOLED display on a $230 phone, and even having a 1080p display is generous from Motorola. The software on this phone is typical Motorola software, which is by no means a bad thing. This thing basically runs stock Android with a few tweaks that I appreciate, like double tap to turn on the flashlight or double twist to activate the camera. A lot of the previous budget phones I've used have had crazy skins on them that really takes away from the feel of Android, and it's nice to know that Motorola has a cheap option that gives you a near stock experience. The camera on this phone is actually pretty good, especially for the price tag, and that's not something that I could say about previous Motorola phones. In summary, this is the first Motorola camera that I would say is actually usable in most situations. It's using a dual camera setup, so you'll get that shallow depth of field effect, and Motorola's version of this is decent. Nothing special with this camera, and there does seem to be a bit of a lag when you press the shutter button before the picture's actually taken, which can be annoying if your subject is moving. Now let's talk about battery life, and battery life was my favorite feature on the Motorola G5s Plus. It's not Motorola's thinnest phone, and the 3000 mAh battery does make it look a lot thicker when you compare it to something like the Z2 Play. However, I would not say that this is an issue, and I'm always a fan of companies sacrificing thickness for battery life, and the sacrifice really pays off with this phone. Because Motorola's software is so clean, the phone doesn't suck up power very fast. Not only is standby time great, but as you can see, after more than 4 hours of screen on time, the phone would be just under 50%. This phone will easily get you through a day, and probably through 2. Overall, this is the best budget phone that I've ever used. With multi-day battery life, a pretty good design, and clean software, it's hard to pass up the Moto G5s Plus. The Motorola G5s Plus is $230 as of right now, but on October 14th, the price is raising up to $279, so you should act quick if you want one. This is going to conclude our review of the Motorola G5s Plus. If you liked this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from TechieGrad. As always guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.